What's up, y'all? It's Truth Tiger. I'm out here today in the park, chilling in nature, getting some fresh air, getting some of this sunshine, and I got a message for y'all today about why you've had to go through so much heartbreak, pain, ridiculousness, situations with narcissists, rejection, and why you've had to go through all this pain and heartbreak and rejection and drama and ridiculousness and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, the first thing is like breaking down the ego. That's a brutal process. Like breaking down the ego, it's like putting a sword into a forge. You take some piece of raw iron, you take a piece of raw metal and you heat it up and you pound on it repeatedly, and then that piece of metal becomes a sword. It becomes sharpened, it becomes a tool, it becomes a weapon, it becomes an instrument. So too to us. In order for us to reach our full potential and become sharp instruments and become the people we need to be, we have to go through some shit. It's just the bottom line. We got to go through some crap. It's just part of it, in order for us to gain our humility. And I've definitely felt this where, back in the day I was a lot more arrogant. Back in the day I was a lot more in my own head and in my own ego, and some of the stuff I've had to go through has really brought me to a place of true humility. And people get confused about humility, and people think humility is just being all, is being weak or something like that, and it's not the case at all. It's like arrogant people, it's like enlarge themselves and make themselves into this big thing, but they're very fragile. So it's like an arrogant person is like this big huge balloon, but one little poke of a pin and that balloon's gonna pop, or one blow of the wind and that balloon is gonna be carried away. And they're all big and they look all fancy and they look all cool on the outside, but they have no control. They have no power over themselves. These arrogant people are extremely weak, and there's no solid core on the inside with them. Everything is just hollow. It's just a hollow, empty shell on the inside, a fragile, hollow, empty shell. Whereas when you become humble, it's like you make yourself smaller. It's like you make yourself smaller into this little nugget, and you're this tough little nugget that's not going to break or move or, or be conformed to the ways of the world or anything. And that's what happens when you become humble. You become this freaking tough little nugget, and you become strong at your very core, and it's no more emptiness on the inside, but you have solidness and fullness on the inside of you, and it takes a lot of pain and suffering for that to happen. It takes a lot of pain and suffering for that to occur, and it's part of the reason why, why a soldier will have to go through boot camp and will be put through physical and mental duress. There's other reasons why they would do a boot camp, but it's one of the key reasons is to break down all the ego and to break down all the BS and to get people into, at their sharpest and their most effective. You're not going to be sharp and effective if you're arrogant, and you're not going to be a good person if you're arrogant either. You're not going to be kind. You're not going to be loving. You're not going to be patient with people. All these good attributes. You're not going to have self-control. you're going to be deluded. You're not going to be connected with the truth. All these good attributes aren't going to happen for an arrogant person, bottom line. It's just not. Arrogant people are just going to be deluded and angry and weird and fragile and just, narcissists a lot of the time. And, it's just not a good thing being arrogant like that. And another part of it is just like, Jesus had to get on the cross. We all have to get on our cross. And part of our goal and mission on this earth and in this world, part of that is we will have to go through pain and suffering. Nothing gets accomplished without, having to kind of hurt and work and make sacrifices and go through pain and go through suffering. The lessons you need to learn aren't going to be learned unless there's some pain and suffering that, you go through. It's just not going to happen. And a lot of people, hold on a sec. A lot of people, after they go through their awakening, all of a sudden find there's some difficult circumstances they have to go through. They might find themselves in a relationship with a narcissist. They might find themselves without a job or homeless, or, they might find themselves, that's probably an extreme example, but I've heard of that happening, and they might find themselves now, going through hardship and going through difficulty because now they have to do the work to get their soul and their spirit and their character to the right place. They have to get their consciousness to the right place and to the right area, and it's not going to happen without pain. It's not going to happen without suffering, Those lessons aren't going to be learned. Sitting back on the couch and chilling and having everything be easy, it's just not going to get you to the place where you need to go, And the truth is, like, the suffering and the pain is going to continue until the lessons are learned, And God punishes those, or God not punishes, but God disciplines those that he loves. God will give discipline to the people that he loves. I think maybe St. Paul said that, but that's in the New Testament, and it's the truth. God wants us to make it upstairs, to go to heaven. God wants us to have peace and kindness and love in our hearts. God wants our minds to know the truth and to be good. God wants us to be able to, gain the spiritual gifts that we have access to, but we're going to have to go through some stuff to get there, In order for the miracles to occur, we're going to have to go through some things. We're going to have to walk through some fire, Sorry, I'm kind of slurping that a bit, but it's not going to be a simple or an easy process. And faith is tested greatest when we're suffering. That's what the book of Job is about. And for me personally, when I was going through stuff, that's when my faith in God is the strongest. It's strong when good things are happening too, but for a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people in church and spiritual people and whatever, and when things go bad for them, they lose faith in God. That's the bottom line. And a lot of people don't have, a lot of people who are spiritual or religious or whatever don't have a good relationship with God. They don't have a good relationship with the Creator. They don't have a good relationship with the universe, if that's how you want to think about it. It's all, why did God do this to me? Why is this happening? How could I go through the divorce? How could I lose my job? How could I have this? How could I get sick? How could I have a health problem? How could this happen? Why me? Why me? Why God? Why did you, And people have that type of relationship with God, and, and I've heard that from a lot of different people, and, they're not seeing the big picture of things, they're not realizing that our faith is going to be tested. And they're not realizing that if faith isn't tested, it's not worth very much, you know? Just bottom line, it's not, you know? If your faith isn't put to the test, what worth is it, you know? And right now, this is the testing ground, the proving ground, the training ground. This realm that we're in, it's the realm that we're being tested on. It's the realm that we're being trained on. And we're going to go through challenges on this earth, you know? We are. Sorry, just give me a sec here. There we go. Just some folks walking by. Just didn't want to get them in my shot there. But yeah, like this realm is the testing ground. You know, this realm that we're in is where we're gonna, you know, we're gonna prove if we're good or we're evil. This realm, we're gonna, you know, choose God or the devil. We're gonna choose good or evil. You know, and that's part of why Jesus said to Saint Peter, what's bound on earth is bound on earth, and what's bound in heaven is bound in heaven. And part of it's he's talking about, you know, the fact that Peter is the leader now, and you know, Peter is the new prophet or whatever, if you will. But you know, the same idea does really apply to all of us. Like, heaven and earth are connected. They're not, you know, they're not as separate as people think. And what we do on earth here manifests in heaven, and vice versa, you know. And I think, and just my basic point on that is, I think people need to see the big picture more, and you know, need to be not quite as short-sighted. And I don't want to trivialize, you know, the crap that people have had to go through at all. And sometimes you just got to deal with some stuff, you know. This earth is flawed, you know. You know, Adam, you know, because he sinned and messed up, now Adam has to toil the land, you know. Now Eve has to go through pain of childbirth, you know, all that type of stuff. Like, now we do have to suffer on this earth on some level. It is what it is, you know. There inherently is some suffering in life. And the stuff you're going through is happening for a reason, you know. God's building your faith and testing you and turning you into an effective instrument. He's turning, you know, he's teaching us how to step into our power and our strength, you know, because humility is strength, you know. And all this stuff we're going through is just making us stronger, much stronger in faith, much stronger spiritually. And, you know, everything's happening for a reason. And again, like a lot of people, when they go through their awakening, the first thing that happens is they start to suffer, you know. And if you look at the Bible, after, you know, when St. Paul is on the road to Damascus and he makes a complete 180 and has his vision of God and, you know, changes up what he's doing, I think he goes blind for like 8 days or something afterwards, you know. Some suffering happens, and that's just kind of part of what it is, you know. All that ego and that sin and that unrighteousness has to kind of be burnt off, you know. It has to be grinded out, you know. It has to be grinded down. And yeah, so I hope this video was encouraging. You know, I really appreciate everybody who's watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, all that kind of stuff. You know, God bless you all. And yeah, have a good one. I'll see y'all later.